Tale of Talakad are the cursed sands of the vanishing temples. Where the river sings and the sands whisper, a city sleeps beneath the soil. Talakad, once a jewel of devotion, now a desert of silence. But this silence was summoned, not by nature, but by a curse. The rise of Talakad. Talakad, nestled on the southern banks of the Cauvery, was no ordinary town. It was the capital of the western Ganga dynasty, flourishing as early as 390 CE. Over 30 temples once adorned its sacred soil, each a hymn in stone, each a prayer etched into eternity. The Panchalingeshwara shrines, dedicated to Lord Shiva, stood like sentinels of devotion. Kings built monuments. Sages meditated beneath banyan trees. Pilgrims arrived in waves, drawn by faith and wonder. The jewel and the jealousy. Centuries later, Talakad's fate would be sealed, not by war, but by desire. Raja Vodya of Mysore coveted the royal jewels held by Alamelamma, widow of the Vijayanagar viceroy. She was no ordinary woman. Fierce, proud, devoted. As soldiers closed in, she fled to the banks of the Cauvery. And there, with the river as her witness, she leapt, crying out a curse that would echo through generations. Talakadu marlagli, Malangi maduvagli, Mysore dhorege makkaladhe hogli. May Talakad be submerged in sand, Malangi become a whirlpool, and Mysore kings be airless. The curse unfolds. After her final words, Talakad began to change. Not in fire, not in flood, but in sand. The temples didn't crumble, they vanished. Geologists suggest the Madhva Mantri Dam altered the river's flow, exposing sand beds that winds carried into the city. But locals knew better. They whispered of Alamelamma, of her wrath, of the soil that turned sacred and strange. Legacy of the curse. To this day, Mysore's royal lineage continues through adoption, not birth. Malangi, across the river, is infamous for its deadly whirlpools. And Talakad? Still buried, still sacred, still cursed. Every 12 years, the Panchalinga Darshana is held, when the sands briefly part and the temples re-emerge. It's not just a festival. It's a resurrection. Myth or memory? Was Talakad truly cursed? Or did nature conspire with legend? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, in the way stories shape landscapes, and landscapes shape belief. Talakad is not forgotten. It is remembered in whispers, in rituals, in the sand that shifts but never settles. And perhaps, in every grain, the echo of a woman's final words still lingers. Talakad, once a thriving temple town on the banks of the Cauvery River, is now buried beneath shifting sands. But this is no ordinary erosion. Legend speaks of a queen's dying curse that transformed a sacred city into a desert, swallowed its temples, and haunted a royal dynasty for centuries. Talakad is not forgotten. It is remembered in whispers, in rituals, in the sand that shifts but never settles. And perhaps, in every grain, the echo of a woman's final words still lingers.